In this, we are running this 2-credit course which is developed by the center to understand the town planning in the ancient India between 3rd to 12th century. The course is divided in such a way which has 14 lectures and divided into 4 units, which in the first unit talks about the text and the town planning, trying to understand the basics. The second unit talks about the socio-cultural thing, which can be said as Varna Vinyas. The third unit talks about the geopolitical, which can be said as Raja Vinyas. And the fourth unit talks about the cities and spatial planning, which is said about the Than Vinyas. For all these 4 units would be culminating in the 5th unit, where we are going to compare what the earlier cities were on the basis of the religious or political importance or for the trade importance, and try to see how they are performing today and try to understand how those principles, if any, are relevant in the present day context.
Module 1: Ancient Text and Town Planning.
All these texts are written in different time periods. Hence, it is very important to understand the evolution of principles of town planning that has happened in India. Therefore, in this module, we would deal with individual texts as well as deal with the comparative analysis of how town planning has progressed in our country from 7th century to 13th century.
Module 2: Sociocultural Expression in Spatial Planning. Varna Vinyas.
I am Professor Kailash Rao, Director, School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. My area of specialization is understanding Indian temples, its role in terms of shaping up the societies, and the larger role that they played in terms of a heritage of this country. These temple towns have been a sort of a centers of religious development, economic development, and social development as well. The other area which I've been working on is the sort of a constructional logic or a certain computational understanding of these temple builders.
Module 3: Geopolitics and Economy in Ancient India. Rajya Vinyas.
There are various hierarchical modules. One of the modules is Rajya Vinyas, where we are talking about how the spatial distribution and the large parts of regions were governed and planned, which speak loudly about what kind of experiences we had developed in our ancient past. One of the such experiences is Kautilya's Arthashastra, which in detail talks about governance framework, human resources, town planning approaches, how we should take up our strategies with our neighbors, not just the regional neighbors, but maybe at a larger extent also. When we minutely look into Kautilya's Arthashastra, and one of the biggest learnings can be that the ancient days were governed well, and the indicators suggest that how we can borrow, how we can metamorphosize those indicators and parameters for our present day learning in a manner that we can also create a, let's say, benchmark which would be the learning from the previous generations, but then taken up for the present cases.
Understanding the ancient text to understand how town planning was done in ancient India is a crucial step to move towards it. In this course, you would be learning about how the cities were planned, their sizes, layout, functions, including whether the cities were designed for a particular purpose, which may be for trade, for governance, for religious purpose, and so on. So when we know that this was the depth and breadth of the understanding of the ancient people, we would like to see how the present day knowledge is based on it. To bring both of them at par, bringing it to the same platform will be the purpose of this course. So you will learn about it in due course of time.
My name is Ajay Khare. I am a professor of Conservation Department at School of Planning and Architecture, but I teach urban regeneration at various places in the department and also at other schools and other institutions. Last 7-8 years, I have been studying about Tamil temple towns. So my own expertise related with temple towns or urbanization is also about how temple towns became temple towns. and what was the ritual polity adopted by the emperors in the southern or peninsular part of India, that how the small religious centers developed into huge urban centers, and they are still working as thriving urban centers. So that is why we need to learn from that what were the inherent values of those traditional towns and how they could survive for so long in history, like Srirangam, Chidambaram, etc.
Coming to the learning objectives, one can understand the premise of Indian knowledge system in the domain of town planning and governance, ability to illustrate, recognize and appreciate the relevance and importance of above knowledge in the present context. One can acquaint with Rajya, Varna and Sthan Vyavastha,